Hello, my friends. Epstein files. Once again, drama continues, and Donald Trump even calls for voting to release those files. Wow! But I have a cognitive dissonance. Oh, to describe everything of that, let's look at his message. Gonna make my image a little lower for you, smaller, sorry, for you to see everything. I said on Friday night, aboard of Air Force One, to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files. Well, he didn't say about it like that. It's not a quote. That's what he said. He said that those files, we have no problems with releasing those files. He said, yeah. Again, he tells the same story because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of Republican Party, including our recent victory of the Democrat shutdown. Okay, so what is the great success, let's be honest, of the United States of America since Donald Trump became the president? Nothing, really zero or even minus. Dollar is weakening every day. Some of the tariffs applied on allies disturbing the world stability and putting under the question and pressure the current world order, which is based on democracy. Well, in a video before, we already saw how he said about this release of the Epstein files. Then the journalist told him, okay, so let's release those right now because the president has this capability. He doesn't need any sort of the voting in Congress or something. He has this White House apparatus. He might tell to FBI, to prosecution office to release those immediately, every freaking minute, just a single call and the files are out there. This is a circus, really, with this voting in the House, but Democrats had to do it to somehow force Donald Trump to release those files. It doesn't guarantee, by the way, that the files will be released, because later on the Senate also should vote, and only after that Donald Trump will receive this bill for signing. And do you think that he will sign it? That's the moment of glory will be here. Well, now with this message, it's more or less understandable that many Republicans will support the voting, but before that, just four supported that, including Marjorie Taylor Greene. And they divorced with Donny. I mean, ideologically divorced, and there is the open beef. Donald Trump calls Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor. Taylor Greene calls that she's been attacked by Donald Trump's influencers, puppets, whatsoever. She's now scared. She feels like Epstein victims felt before. Well, before she was quite okay in offending other people the same way Donald Trump offends her right now. So yeah, she has a nice experience. It's the backfire. Quite significant one. Let's continue. The Department of Justice has already turned over 10,000 pages to the public on Epstein, are looking various Democrat... So again, he turns it to the Democrats' accusation, yeah? So I wasn't there. There were only some sort of the Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, Booba. So those guys are involved, not me. No, don't call me. But we know from the email leaks that Donald Trump is out there in numerous of the emails. His name is mentioned. Also, Russians are mentioned there, including Putin, Lavrov, Churkin, everyone. So there, it builds on the conspiracy theory, and MAGA supporters, they like those conspiracy theories. Donald Trump actually was surfing, writing this Epstein Scandal to be elected, saying that I'm gonna release everything, we're gonna find out the truth, elect me, come on. But then he was elected, his electorate sees that he is the one who hides everything of that, those files. He doesn't want to be uncovered. I'm sure that Donny doesn't want to release those files finally, and he still wants to make this huge walk around via Congress to have the opportunity to stop the release at any freaking moment. If he really wanted it to be released, he would release it as I already told you. Okay, so Democrats' relations with the Epstein and the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care. We see how Donny doesn't really care. He's even willing to have the open confrontation with his true supporters, Taylor Greene, out there in the press, everywhere. than not to release the files. Oh my god, guys, this is total meltdown. All I do care is what Republicans get back on point, which is economy, affordability, where we are winning big. Americans who are watching me, is everything became so much affordable for you? Like, let's be honest in the comment section, if you want to comment, of course. Is it a big win that happened after Donald Trump became the president? Like, what is he saying here about? For me, it's really hard to judge because I live in another country, but you know better, yeah? I just look at social media influencers, some of the videos out there online, X platform, Facebook, I don't know, YouTube videos. It seems like it's not that much affordable, or there is just a minor change. So tell me if you live your perfect life with Donald Trump in power. Our victory on reducing inflation from the highest level in the history to particularly nothing brings down prices for American people, delivering historic tax cuts, gaining trillions of dollars of investments to America, a record, the rebuilding of our military, securing our border, deporting criminals, illegal aliens, ending men and women's sports. Ending men in women's sports. I'm sorry. I thought it's end. Stopping transgender for everyone and so much more. So that's the great success for stopping transgender. So tell me, Americans, if it is really a huge achievement. Like, is it really happening? Nobody cared about Jeffrey Epstein. Really? You build your own freaking election pass speaking about Jeffrey Epstein and your prosecution. Oh my god, they all were saying that we're gonna release Epstein files. Epstein files, Epstein files. They're on my desk. Pam Bondi said, this FBI guy said that they're gonna be released, that the current White House administration, by the time Biden, they just don't want to release those. I'm gonna release everything. Where FBI closed the case saying that Jeffrey Epstein was alone doing everything of that. No one is involved. Maybe Ghislaine Maxwell, but somehow she was moved to the better prison with way better conditions. And none of the sex offenders, or even if we speak about the trafficking of kids, no one is out there from this kind of the category. Usually because of the minor criminal violations, people are put to that prison she is now. But somehow she moved there. There were secret meetings. And by the way, when it became evident that Congress has enough votes to vote for release of the Epstein files, Donald Trump called everyone of his team into the situational room of the freaking White House. Situational room to discuss the possible future release. Yes, they're panicking that much. A freaking situational room which is used for emergencies. Oh god. Sorry, I have to make my due. I just came from the shower, so it's the usual thing for me to do this stuff. Okay, here we go. If the Democrats had anything, they would have released it before our landslide election victory. Some members of Republican Party are being used, and we can't let that happen. Let's start talking about the Republican Party's record-setting achievements and not fall into Epstein trap, which is actually a curse on the Democrats and not us. Make America great again. He totally melts down. He doesn't know how to call it anymore, those files. He called those hoax, trap, but he doesn't want to release those. Otherwise, day one, as he likes to say, he would release those long time ago. We'll see where it goes. Tomorrow there will be a voting for releasing the files for this bill in Congress, and we'll see how many votes are going to be there. And it's not going to be an anonymous vote or something. No, every Republican, well, Democrats, they support this stuff, but every Republican who votes against will be determined, identified, and later on put in the history of shame. So it looks like we'll have the bipartisan support on the release of the Epstein files, and there will be the support of that in Senate. I'm almost sure about it. And we'll see how what he will decide to do. Maybe they manipulate now with those files, because after all, Donny has an outstanding power, but also it could be scrutinized and investigated, whether there were some of the attempts to erase files, to destroy them, and so on. Yeah, for Donald Trump, it would be the perfect solution. He even tried to tell before that there were no any Epstein files. Then he said that those are Democrat hoax and so on, so on, so on. But we know that they're out there, and there is the great probability that soon they're going to be released. And who knows, maybe Republicans themselves will flush down Donny together with his presidency, announcing impeachment together with Democrats. Well, it depends what is out there in those files. Because for Republicans, why they supported Donny so much with his MAGA cult, because Donny is this charismatic leader. He is capable to win campaigns, presidential campaigns. So Republicans, they need this guy who has been voted for. But with the Epstein scandal happening, no one will support Republican candidate any longer, and they will lose congressional elections, Senate elections, presidential elections, could be for decades ahead. Everyone would remember the Epstein scandal and the involvement of Donald Trump. So Donny is pretty much good guy now for Republicans, but everything could be shifted very, very fast, and the shift is already happening because we see how people voted in New York for the city mayor, not just for Democrat, but who is in a deep opposition against Donald Trump. And also in some other states, people supported Democrats with overwhelmingly huge difference compared to Republicans. Yeah, there were some of the elections all were lost for Republicans, and now they understand, oh my God, we have this clumsy duck who is ruling the country, who is incompetent, who is involved in Epstein scandal. There is the great chance for it, at least I personally think it's 100% that he is involved, because he tries to hide absolutely everything. And finally not releasing the files, I'm sure he's still creating those kind of the big posts about Democrat party or Democrat elite involvement. And Democrats, I would say they're quite okay. They just want to release whoever is there in those files. For Republicans, it's the huge dilemma, life decisive dilemma, and we're gonna see how it's gonna unveil this week. Someone already put the string from the sweater, and the sweater gonna be shrinking, and it's gonna shrink every freaking day to get with Trump's rating, Trump's self-defense of how he can explain it. It's already unexplainable, Donny. You have to release the files, and then they will see that you are out there. It's gonna be the end. It's gonna be dive down end. Not just for Donny, but for many people from his circle. Well, guys, with that, see you around. Ciao.